we now have an app, a routes file, and a main component. In this section, we're going to add in our header. Remember, the component main will always be showing the header at all times, no matter which route we're on. The content assigned to this .props.children, however, will be changing as we navigate to different routes. So when the user is clicking about the application and going to these different URLs, the header is always going to be visible, but the content within our main component is going to be changing. And that's what's going to give them the impression that we're navigating to different routes over time, or to different HTML documents. So let's flesh out our header. We're going to start by, inside of our components folder, creating a new file called header.jsx. Inside of header.jsx, we're going to do the usual boilerplate, require in React, module.exports, define our render function, and okay. So what we're going to do inside of this header function is just define, well, our header, go figure. To do so, we're going to be borrowing some HTML from Bootstrap here. So all the class names that you're going to see are class names that are coming from Bootstrap, and that's where we're going to get some of our free styling. So we'll define nav with class name, navbar default, and header. Next, we'll add a div, the class name of container fluid. And inside of there, we'll have an anchored tag. And we're going to add in, for right now, an href that goes to just the root route. And we'll add a class name of navbar brand. And we'll just say, for right now, Imgur browser. And then underneath the anchor tag, as a sibling, we'll add a UL. And this is going to have a class name of navbar navbar right. You really think we could condense these class names with Bootstrap? Kind of a pet peeve of mine, but oh well. Inside of this UL, we'll add an LI and then an anchor, and we'll just say topic number 1. So we'll save this. Again, just a bunch of HTML for right now, nothing special. Back inside of our main.jsx, we will require in header, which is in the same directory. So we do // and then we will render our header inside of here. So we'll replace just I'm a header with header /. All right, so let's save this. And all right, doesn't look too bad. If you have your browser window too small, you'll see that just because the way our CSS is set up right now, topic number 1 floats over to the left, but we really want it to be over to the right. To get that to do so, just increase the browser width a little bit, like so. Okay. So make sure you'll only be seeing this view right here if you're at just /. If you're at /1 or /2 or what have you, you might see an error down here. Make sure you're looking at the correct route. So let's go back over to our header really quick and look at the A tag that we've got defined in here. Right now we have a href of /, and this makes sense, right? That link right there is this link right here, Imgur browser. And so in the header, if the user clicks on this nice kind of header, or I don't know, home link, they would usually expect to go to the home page of our application. So let's go ahead and test this link out really quick. Let's click it. And okay, so sure enough, it worked. We're back where we expected to be. But I want you to take special note of something here really quick. I'm going to expand my browser window just a little bit more. And I'm going to be okay with the topic 1 floating to the left for now. I want to look at my network request tab because I want to really illustrate something special that's going on here. Watch what happens when I click on, oh, looks like I broke the link slightly. Okay, there we go. So let's watch what happens when we click on Imgur browser. We're going to watch our network requests over here. When I click on this, you'll see that we visited localhost again. We re-downloaded Bootstrap min CSS, and we basically made another request to grab all these components, all these page components here. So what that's telling us is that when we're clicking this link right here, we're getting a total page refresh. That is not the behavior that we want to have in a single page application. When we are building a single page application, as we are now, we only ever expect the user to have to navigate around or inside of our application. That means that when we are navigating to different routes for the user, we want to simply show them different content on the page, but we never want to actually reload an entirely new HTML document, as we are when we click this link. Instead, we want to just kind of trick them into thinking that they're navigating around to different web pages, but instead we're just swapping out content on the page. That means that we need to make sure that this link up here, this Imgur browser link, is not going to cause a full reload of the page. Instead, it should tell React Router that the user is trying to visit a different route, and that we will expect React Router to show the appropriate content on the page without doing a full refresh of the HTML document. So what we need here is we need a different construct than this anchor tag. Our anchor tag it's browser native. We don't really have a whole lot of control over it. We don't want to refresh the page here, which is what's always going to happen if we assign an href attribute to the anchor tag. Luckily, React Router has us covered on this topic, and React Router is going to give us a mechanism that's going to allow us to put a link here, but that link is not going to trigger a full page refresh. It's just going to navigate inside of our application. So to do so, to fix that link at the top, we're going to say var router require React Router, and then we're going to say var link, capital L, is router.link. So React Router's link object is a renderable component, so it's something that we can place into our render function that will turn into an anchor tag when it's rendered. And it's really easy to use. All we have to do is wherever we put an anchor tag, we'll replace it with link. So we'll replace the opening and the closing. And then instead of assigning an href, we'll instead assign 2. And then the class name is just going to stay the same. So I'm going to save this. And just to, let's click this now. And when I click it, you'll see that nothing happens on the page. Like I don't see a spinny icon right here. I don't get any additional network requests. Nothing is happening. So let's, who knows, this might not be working right now. Let's test the behavior out. Up at the top inside of my route, I'm going to say # and I'm just going to enter some garbage. And this is going to make React Router think that we're trying to visit some route up here. So now I'm going to click Imgur browser here, and when I click it, I'm going to expect 2 things to happen. First off, I'm going to expect the route to change from gibberish to just /, which means that we've successfully navigated. And number 2, when we navigate, I'm going to expect to not see any indications that we've done a full page refresh. So let's click Imgur browser, and sure enough, we didn't get a page refresh, but we did see successful navigation. Instead of seeing the gibberish, we now see just /. So that's still kind of like, are you sure that we're actually navigating here? Are you sure that we're refreshing the page? Well, that's a good question. Let's do a little test here to just confirm. In our code editor, I'm going to flip back over to main.jsx. And in here, I'm going to add a line, var render count equals 0. And then inside of our render function, we're going to say render count, console log render count ++. So what we're saying here is we're going to start off with render count equal to 0. Every time that our main component is rendered, we're going to increase render count and console log it. So let's see what happens. We're going to save, let the page refresh, and you'll see down here at the bottom right, main.jsx says console log the number 0. So let's click this, and you'll see every time we do, our component main is in fact re-rendering. So that means that our link tag is successfully working because it is navigating to the / route, it is re-rendering main, and it's not, most importantly, it is not triggering a full page refresh. All right, let's delete the console log here and remove the render count, save, and terrific, looks good. Let's continue this in the next section.